So with the hearing preparation process, there is some key things that need to be done. We put it all into a how to prepare for your hearing course. If you are working with us here at the Disability Digest as your representative, we will put you in this automatically. Once we understand your hearing date and when it is, and we will time delay the information so that it comes to you appropriately. If you are not using the Disability Digest as your representative, at any point in time in the course, you can select to get an update. You just fill out this form that's on the prior versions, and it will put you into the next segment of the course. So those are ways in which you can advance your way automatically through. Or you can just email the support desk here and we will put you in the next segment of it. So some key things to prepare for the hearing. Um, is to really have your expectations set as to what your role is and um, what your attorney or representative is going to be doing for you. So that's one key thing. And then the questions you're going to be asked. There are certain questions that you're going to ask, and as part of this segment of the course, we have put together a lesson where we have gone through and listened to, it was like around 40 disability hearings, like the replays, because we get the audios, and we extracted the questions that the judge asks. Put those all in one lesson so that you can go in and you can listen, and it can give you a really good idea in a short period of time what questions that you have been asked in the past in the process, when you were asked those, and then when what the judge will ask relative to those prior questions. So I liken Social Security to it's kind of like parenting. They ask, kids, they ask the same questions, or minded anyway, over and over and over. So you just need to be aware and make sure that you are answering these questions consistently, so you remain credible, and consistently meaning relevant to where you're at medically. So that's some of the key parts of the course. The best part of the course, in my opinion, for people that do need to go into the course, is uh, is step five. That means you're approved. So with step five, just let us know, and we'll talk more in one of the upcoming segments of this, like how we can help you once that we've helped you secure your benefits, how we can help you understand what the insurance options that you have, how to maximize your Medicare, how to protect your benefits from future reviews, um, items like that. So one more thing I do want to mention about the disability approval course is we earlier talked about um, the listings and
Everybody, this is
and
Brian Terry.
and just pulling over an audio here to support what I'm saying. When you come in and join us as a member, um, an advocate, you'll have a conversation with an advocate, and they'll review your situation, like where you at in the process, or have you applied and waiting, applied and denied, etc., and then learn about your conditions. And then once they do that, they'll start the disability approval course for you. But we have condition specific information to go with the course. So what you're looking at here is for those that have back or neck. This is the muscular skeletal blue book listing from Social Security. So it explains what the requirements are for you to meet that listing. Maybe you do, maybe you don't have the evidence for it. But we have several of these. We don't have all of them at the time of this recording, but we have the major ones. So for the listings, which is up on the screen right now, they're broken down by numbers. I just showed you musculoskeletal, digestive, cardiovascular. There's ones for brain health or mental health, which is 12. So when you discuss your case with your advocate, again, they can help you with that. So just want to give a quick recap of what we covered here before we go on to the next the next segment, which is we've talked about the Disability Digest, really the two-part strategy. You have the first part of it that we've covered is the disability approval course. This is a deep dive into it. And then the second step of the two-part strategy is we collect information about your case, like your work, your age, your conditions, your treatment, etc. And then we evaluate if it's a case that we feel we can work with you as your disability representative, make a difference, and help you get approved. And if we do that, then we can definitely make a difference. And one of the things about doing the two-part evaluation, actually there's four, is that if we collect the information and we do an evaluation, we can at least give you an idea if you have a shot at getting approved. I've met people that have been in the process for a long time, and I can tell right away within a minute or two that they don't have a shot at it. And sometimes it's things that they can fix. So if we come back to you and we say, well, you know what, we can help you, it gives you one indication. We come back to you and say, we're not able to help you. We're going to tell you why. And maybe it's something that you can fix and improve. So those are two really important things that you can learn. And we'll point out some of the key things in the course that could help you with the process. So the other things that an evaluation would be helpful for, like call it number 3. So we've talked about, we'll let you know if you have a case, if you don't. The third one is what's it like and what would it be like for you to use disability representative? And, you know, would it make your life easier? Would it allow you to focus on your health? The only reason, in my opinion, that people don't use a disability representative is to potentially save the fees. So if you look at it, the maximum fee that you would pay at the time of this recording for a disability representative is $7,200. It's a lot of money. But the average amount of your benefit package over the lifetime is $447,000. So if you're looking at it and say, all right, well, it's less than 1% of my overall benefit package. Do I want to invest the time to do this on my own to make sure I do it right and get through? Or do I want to use a disability representative? So that's another key thing. And the last point is when in doing this work for the years and the time and the people and the cases that we've seen ways to uncover additional evidence, things that we can do to help you really maximize your chances, like that little nuance of adding a video in certain instances of things that can make a difference. So the strategy here at the Disability Digest, the two-part to recap it is, you have the disability approval course. We'll collect and review and evaluate some information. We'll let you know the 4 things. And then you decide if you want to go forward on your own or you want to use a representative. It's as simple as that. The thing here is it really, to us, we work with a limited amount of people to help them get through the process. That's one of the reasons why we have the course. But you just have to make sure that you do it right to get through so you can close that gap from that 1.9 million to that 565. So if you either you can invest the time and do it on your own, or you've got a family member or somebody that can work with you, great. Or maybe you do and you still want to use those. That's your choice. So that is the Disability Digest two-part strategy. We're going to pause, take a break, and we're going to come back after this, and we're going to do a deeper dive into what the Disability Digest does, like internally here, to help you maximize your chances for winning your disability benefits. Okay, so the next segment that I want to cover is what the Disability Digest does to help people get approved. Now, a lot of that I've covered in the segments of the disability approval course. And there's some work that we just cannot do for you. For example, the daily living forms. I mean, only you know the answers to those because you're the one that's living your life. But we can certainly review those. But there's other areas where we can influence it and definitely guide you through each of the steps. So I'm going to cover some of the highlights of that, and then what it's like to get started with the representation process. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I've got a punch list of a few things, which that's not it, that I'm going to go through with you. So for somebody at the initial application stage, we make it easy to collect your information. You'll see that in a moment. And we'll collect all of your information and we'll actually file it to Social Security if you haven't done so already. And then we will work with you to help you make sure you understand what you're actually saying and how to craft your statement. We do encourage you not to get into conversations with Social Security that are open-ended questions because they could ask you like, well, why do you think you can't work? And so we'll handle all of that. We'll work with you to get doctor support, and it's critical to do so. There's some doctors that are apprehensive. There's certain strategies that we have found that if they initially say no, we can help you possibly to get them to say yes. And then there's different evidence, like based on a case, a case could benefit from, let's say, a third party letter from a coworker that you had or a superior at work that knew you well. And when you were working, you were allowed to have some special accommodations. Um, and those special accommodations, perhaps you could come in later, leave earlier, go to your car at lunch and take a nap, and had different work tasks. And working and crafting a letter that a coworker could authorize or write it in their own language. Things like that for additional evidence are definitely helpful. Now, as far as the case monitoring is concerned, we do monitor cases. One of the things that we have access to as a disability representative is seeing your case file. But seeing your case file doesn't give us um, any significant difference for intel on the decision. Oftentimes, decisions will show up in your MySSA account before they are in our portal. So for case monitoring, it's always best in any situation, in my experience, to make sure that you understand how to log in and look at your MySSA account. But what our advantage that we have is that we can see everything in your case file. So if you have the 5 doctors, um, and we watch Social Security load your case file with the medical records, and they only have three, and you're getting close to a decision, then we can um, advise or work with you and them to get the other medical evidence in, so they're getting the full picture. So that is a big advantage. As an individual applicant, you don't see the details or the exhibits of your case. Um, you can just really see the status. So that's one thing. The biggest advantage of viewing the case file is that we can write a communication to Social Security, call it a case theory or a case brief, that looks at the information in your case file, which could be your medical records, doctor's support letters, additional evidence, and we can write a statement and communicate to the case manager, or depending on what level the case is at, why you should be approved. So this does a lot of the work for them. Right now, at the time of this recording, there's like 1.1 million cases in the system. And that's a lot of cases. It's usually like around 700,000. So it's very competitive to get your disability benefits. And this is just one thing that a disability representative can do, or in my opinion, should do, like as a full service disability representative, to help you. And that also allows us to be in a situation where when we talk to the case manager, that we can communicate that, all right, well, here's the 3 points that we pointed out and the case theory as to why this individual qualifies, to drive that home. So, and for reconsideration, the key points that we can do is we can review your denial letter, look at the reason why you're denied, and look at the other aspects of your case, like your age, your work history. And it could be that you were denied, and the statement in the denial letter says, "We believe you could do some type of work," but fact is, you're the person that has been driving truck for 17 years, and that is your livelihood, and you can no longer do that because you have musculoskeletal issues. So it's not any work; it's really that work, and that is just one item that could be put into your appeal that could make a difference. So just using examples here of what can help you out. And could be you had some issues or things with, maybe it could also be your treatment is not solid enough, and maybe you've got some brain health conditions, which most people that are out of work and have financial challenges and go through the disability approval process do have some degree of brain health. It's also known as mental health, but it's not diagnosed and it's not treated. So things like that. Hearing, there's a lot of work to be done for preparation for a hearing, to get the case ready so that it can be brought to court and approved. So the key things are medical records. Now, Social Security requests medical records at the initial stage, and they evaluate it. But when it comes to the hearing, they don't request medical records. So one of the key strategies for a hearing is to request medical records that start from the date that Social Security last had them up to, as recent as you can before the hearing. And to go through and evaluate those and create a case brief. And that case brief looks at all the evidence in the file, tells the story why the individual qualifies, and asks the judge to make ideally a favorable decision before the hearing. They seldom do, but it asks them to do that. That information is then taken, and our process here at the Disability Digest is likely the attorney It's going to be an attorney that will go into court with you. It could be a non-attorney representative, but most commonly in our situation, it's an attorney. It could be some of those that you saw in the disability approval course, or others that have exemplified that they do 200 or more hearings a year. They have experience in doing this. We've been doing this for a long time, and we've met lots of people that are good at the hearing process that we have access to. So, so cases prepared, brought up to speed with the attorney that will be representing you in court. You meet with the attorney in a review, and this is done over the phone typically, and they'll help you understand your role, the possible questions you could be asked. You can ask any questions at that time, but the focus of the attorney is to manage the process and communicate the message and minimize your involvement because you haven't had any experience going to court. Most people are super nervous. And so that is their role in it. So these are some of the key things that we do to help you make a difference here at the Disability Digest. And as I've said before, I don't reveal in any recordings what our win rate is, and I don't advise our team not to do that. You're certainly welcome to ask that. The reason why I don't do it is I feel that it is misleading. And somebody could say at a firm, we've got, a 97% win rate, but they're only looking at cases over the last 6 months or a select subset of cases. I just don't feel that it is the right way to communicate. So we just attempt to point out the value in what we do. But if that's something that's important to you, you could certainly ask. I am not ashamed of our award rate. Our team has done amazing of doing it. It's not that at all. Okay, so if you choose the option of going forward with us, so we've talked about the disability approval course, representation, and then you say, yeah, you know what, I'd like to help. I'd like your help. I'd like you to partner with us. Then the getting started part is there's two parts. There's disability approval step one that I'm going to bring over on the screen. And then that is followed by disability approval step two. I'll go all the way over here to the right. Okay. So step one to getting started, we've done our very best to make it super easy for you, is the authorization of documents. If you watch the video and authorize the forms, you can do it. At time people, usually it's 9 minutes or less. And that's if you watch the video. So the forms that are required to get started are outlined here. There is a total of 6 forms, but one of them is approval expectations. It's a form that we ask that you authorize. I'll go through it in a moment, but it just confirms that you understand what is expected of you and what you can expect of us. When we enter into this working relationship, we invest our time, our effort, our money into getting you approved, and we only get paid if we are successful. So if you don't hold up your side of it, we will clearly point that out. Oftentimes we give you a warning, but if you don't adhere to it, then we have the right to release you, and you have the right to release us as well. But that's where the expectations comes in place. We're in this to win it. And if you get well and go back to work, wonderful. That's great. It's our evaluation of your situation that you come to us and you're not able to work, but it's definitely better to work than it is to collect a disability check. So thus the expectations. So the key forms that need to be authorized before I go on and show you is there's the form 1696, Social Security 1696, and somebody can click on these individual links right here and it'll go out to the form. And that is saying that you want the Disability Digest, Brian Tarian, to be your disability representative. Our parent company is the Disability Solution House. So that's why it's on this page here. So that is the form number one, is saying that you would like us to be or me to be your representative in the team here. Two is the fee agreement. Social Security has one fee agreement, and it's performance based. Once your case is approved, they send 25% of your back benefits, which is every month that you have been out of work after 5 months. 25% of that is sent to the disability representative. So an example of that would be is, let's say I'm going to just use $1,000 check a month because it's math is like it's really easy for me. So if you've been out of work for 15 months, the first 5 months is an elimination period, and there's no back benefits in the first 5 months. But the next 10 months out of the 15, there would be. So if your disability check was $1,000 a month, you would have 10 months at $1,000. So it'd be $10,000. If your disability check was $2,000 a month, it'd be 10 months times 2,000. 25% of that amount is paid to the disability representative. And with the Disability Digest, we do not charge any administrative fees. We don't charge for medical record. There isn't any other fees that are included. We just focus on winning the case. Okay. The next form is SSA 827, allows us to access your Social Security case file and information that's there. And the next is the release of information from Social Security, which is SSA 3288. So forms 2 through 5 are Social Security forms. And then the last one is a HIPAA form that allows us to access your medical records. So in the event that, if you go to a hearing or we want to request medical evidence earlier in the case, that we have the ability to do that. So there's two ways to complete the forms. This box down here, once you click this blue button, it goes away. These are all the forms that are in this box. I am going to show you my preferred way to do it, which is you click the link here and it opens up the forms in a browser. You still have the blue button agreeing to the cookies. And this is done with Adobe Sign. It's super safe, secure. Your information is kept private. So no need to worry about that. Now, a few things on the forms, and this is in the video, but I just want to, for this presentation, want to make sure that you understand, is definitely encourage you to review all of the expectations. The treatment part, where to send your information, if you contact us, what you can expect for a reply, vice versa. If we contact you, what we expect for a reply. You change your phone number, you change your address, it's your job to let us know, and so that we can keep in touch with you. Some important things like that. Now, the forms are set up so that if you fill in a field here, like let's say I'm going to type in my name and I select apply, this signature will be populated into the other forms down below. So it makes it easy for you to do that. Another tip is when you enter your Social Security number, no spaces or hyphens, all of those together, right? And as you advance with the button on the left, just make sure that every field is filled out properly. And then the last tip is when you get all the way down and you've filled everything out, down in this last HIPAA form, and you hit click to sign, it's going to say not done yet or something like that. It's going to ask you to enter your email address, and it's going to send a confirmation to your email address saying, hey, did you really sign these forms? So make sure that you finish the last step. So once these are done, they go back into our system and you can be advanced. Now, let's say that you don't want to do the electronic signature. You can download these forms from the email that you were sent. You can print them off, you can fax them back, you can scan them, send them back in a PDF. You could mail them, just takes longer, send them back in different ways. So that's step number one. Should be able to do this in less than 9 minutes, right? Okay. Next is step number two. Again, once step one is completed, you will be brought on to step number two. Now, step number two is the collection of the information for your disability application. Now, I don't know if you think back to the very beginning when we started the disability approval course. One of the segments that I showed you was the information that you'll need to apply. So this step two is for individuals who have not applied. The information that you're going to be required to submit is more than somebody who has already applied. Maybe you're applied and waiting, applied and denied, etc. Okay. Now, down here is a Social Security disability checklist, and this covers everything that somebody needs to apply for their disability benefits. And what we have done is, in an effort to make it easy for you, show you the list. Then we encourage you to take the information that you're going to be submitting and put it in like a document, like a Google document or a Google Drive, or save it on your computer in Word. And then if you're going to submit it to us via this form by entering it into the fields, then just copy and paste. Because the form will time out after a certain amount of time. Maybe the power glitches, maybe somebody, I don't know, steps on the power cord. Who knows what happens? Lots of things have happened, and you get almost done, and then you got to do it over again. So avoid doing that. So for like place of birth, mother's maiden name, these are common identifiers that Social Security requires for you to access your case file. If we're going to file it for you, we definitely want to have you have access to it. So that's why, the information is there. So when you come all the way down here, at the end, there's 22 different categories. Some of them may not apply. You click submit, and then you are done. So this step two is for those that have not applied. Now, if somebody has applied, then we don't need all of that information. We just need a scaled down version of it because your application is already in the disability system. So this is place of birth, mother's maiden name, alternative contact. It's really doctors, medications, so that we can get a feel for your case, theory, work, and click to submit. So this only has 11 categories on it, right? Now with step two, completing it online, it's quick and easy, it's safe to do. But if you prefer, in the email that was sent to you that gave you directions to this, you can print off the step two forms, fill them out. You can mail them. You can scan them and send them back to us in a PDF. You can fax them. I think that's the common ways that people do it. Most people do it online. So we've talked about what we do to make a difference. We've talked about the steps 1 and 2 to get started. Once your step 2 is done, you receive a notification. Your case will be sent over to the case manager and assigned to you. They'll be contacting you and they'll be working on your case.